place to be is living free in Tennessee.
Welcome to Living Free in Tennessee, where we talk about building the life you choose on your terms. Today is Friday, January 23rd, 2026. And guess what?
Everybody's going to die.
Everybody's going to die. It's ICEMAGEDDON on the way, hitting us this evening in the middle of the night, just in time for our friend DFW Mike there to move his stuff, I'm sure. We don't usually get ice storms of this scale, but it does not sound different than the one we got. I think it was 2021, or it was 2016. I don't know. There was one in 2021 where we just kept getting wave after wave of ice here, and we were stuck in a holler for like 10 days. And then there was another one where all the ice broke all of the lines and put an entire town out of power for 2 weeks, and they had to evacuate. So it's coming again. It's amazing. Backrat says, remembering the ice storm of 94. I was not here in 94. I was in Oregon at that time. So Amy says she hopes Jack survives. I'm pretty sure he's going to survive because I'm pretty sure he's not in Texas right now. He was running a rewind the other day. So that usually means he's on the road. Cloudy here, 43 degrees. Anyway, we're going to talk about the Homestead Happening show, the updates, the getting ready for the ice. Valerie was out yesterday helping us do all sorts of fun stuff here. Yeah. And a whole bunch of other updates from the Holler Homestead. Before we do that, I want to talk to you about today's featured event. Guess what it is, Tactical?
I have no idea.
What would it be?
The ice storm. Everybody gets to participate.
Okay. Great. So, what else?
I have no idea.
What's coming soon that's a big deal around here? You've been hearing me talk about it all week.
I hear you talk about all sorts of stuff. How am I supposed to keep track of which one you're referring to?
It's the big one that happens in April.
Oh. A workshop.
The workshop. Yeah, your mic is not pointed towards you, first of all.
Well,
you're talking quiet. There you go.
I can't help that fact that it keeps flipping down.
Right. Well.
Tell them to mount the clip upside down.
I can put it on your beard. You don't like that idea? You could hold it under your mouth.
I am not a TikToker.
Jenny says the spring workshop. That's right. Spring workshop is coming up April 23rd, 24th, and 25th. If you're new to the show, this is a big deal. It's a really unique event that we do every year here. And we bring in homesteaders, homestead aspiring people, business people, preppers, like all sorts of folks come and spend 3 days on my homestead. Camping is included. Food is included. We feed you 3 meals a day. We source most of that food from the homestead or from other folks in our network here who are growing the food themselves. Howdy, Bobby. Good to see you, Spags. And we do a combination of, learning regenerative ag stuff like soil microbiology is on the list this year. And we're going to use microscopes. Also, if you have a microscope and you're in Tennessee that we could borrow, it'd be great to have more than one on site. So I'm going to try to get folks who I know have good soil capable microscopes to lend them to us for laboratory hands-on stuff. We've got people who are going to share stories of how they've built their business one day at a time. Jack's going to talk about the 5 o'clock club, which is a way he's been getting his book written by getting up early and doing the first hour just for him every day, and some other cool stuff. But also, guess what year this is? How many years have I been doing the podcast this year?
I don't know.
You don't know? You came in at episode 8, Squash.
I can't keep track of what day of the week it is.
If you were going to guess. Also, I'm
going to guess since you're bringing it up 10.
It's the 10th year anniversary. It's the 10th year anniversary of the podcast this year. So we're going to have a little extra fun at the Living Free in Tennessee Spring Workshop. And part of what we're doing is an epic food day. I'm pretty sure we're roasting a lamb. But you and I have to discuss that because it's still running around out there.
Yeah.
So we have to decide that. Jack, one of his sessions is going to be about enjoying the abundance you create, putting together like fancy, delicious finger foods, and we're all going to get to eat them. And one of the things I think he's doing is home curing and smoking some salmon, sockeye salmon. So that's going to be delicious. And a whole bunch of other stuff like that on that day. Like we're going to have a day of celebration, but also learning as part of that. And because this year we're at the Base Camp Lodge with access to the teaching kitchen, we have access to the teaching kitchen, which is pretty cool. But also, I've got Alan Booker coming in, soil microbiology, and he's also going to talk about regenerative health as regards your gut microbiome and some other things. Like I was talking to him the other day, and there's things you can do in your kitchen to make your vegetables last longer just by doing fermentations and stuff. So it's a whole bunch about microbiology in his realm this time. And I did that because it plays off of the bioreactor compost we did last year. We're going to check in on the pile we did last year. We might build a second pile this year, depending on if we have all of the stuff for that. Opalin's coming in. She's going to make a outdoor cook stove, and we're going to cook a pot of stew on that, I'm pretty sure. That the byproduct is biochar. I think that's pretty awesome. Yeah. We've got Carrie Brown coming in to talk about how you can use rotational grazing to rehabilitate poor pasture. And he's going to walk us through how he's been doing that at his property. But speaking of fermenting things, guess who's going to come in to do some fermentation teaching?
Sandor Wood.
Sandor Katz. Do you guys know who he is? If you don't, look up Sandor Katz. He has a number of books, but he got into fermenting because he had some health problems that he needed to deal with. And they said he was going to die, I'm pretty sure. And he's not dead.
Wasn't here at the first one?
He was here at the second workshop. Second workshop when we, at the last minute, had to do the workshop down in the
yeah, that makes sense.
In the barn because they wouldn't put the tent up when they got here. Remember that? You stayed up all night making it so we could have classes in there. Anyway, Sandor Katz came here, and what we have him queued up to do right now, which may not be what he's doing, is to talk about fermentation overview, basics, different places in the world, different things that are fermented, that sort of thing, which he's very knowledgeable. He travels all over the world giving classes on fermentations and learning about fermentation. But also, we're going to do some hands-on sauerkraut with him. So, because there's a teaching kitchen and we can. But as we dial in all the sessions that are happening, because Sherry Stickler's coming. She's a local herbalist who's awesome. And right now she's talking about showing us how to make tinctures and salves and stuff, which she can do, but she can also talk to the big picture. And we also have Jenny Hill giving a health-related discussion. So we're going to have all of these people talk because the microbiology, the soil health, the regenerative food that we raise, and dealing with boo-boos and illness are kind of all the same topic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure, and that like Sandor talking about fermentations will be a really good fit for this particular workshop. So I was really excited he has time to come. And if you've ever wanted to meet Sandor Katz in person and get your books signed by him, this is a good time to do it. I'll probably put out a thing to everybody. If you need to order a book in advance, you can have them shipped here so you don't have to carry them. But that is a big workshop. We got Jack Spirko, we've got Alan Booker, we've got Oakland Bringer. I'm going to be doing a talk. We've got Sandor Katz, we've got John Pugliano, all sorts of folks that you've heard of, and some maybe a little new to you. And all of it comes together into a stellar workshop. We feed you 3 meals a day. We have a great kitchen staff. And we also, guess what? Have fun.
Isn't that like half the point.
Yeah, we have fun. The campfire time is great. The people you meet are great. It's turned into, for some it's a family reunion, but we always get a good set of new folks in as well. One of the sessions I'm excited about so Opalyn was going to talk to us about biochar. And I was like, no, because Opalyn is a master of fibers. And so we're going to have her talk about finding, using, and maintaining natural fibers if you're trying to get away from wearing plastic clothing. She can also spin. She can do a sewing corner if you want to learn how to maintain the clothes that you have, that sort of thing. And that's something that is near and dear to my heart. I've been looking for a silk slip. You're like, why does that matter? The reason it matters is when you put dresses on and light shines through them, you can see right through the dresses if you don't wear a slip. And back in the 80s, when we were more modest, what we would do is wear a slip. Well, the only slips I can find are plastic. And then occasionally I'll find a silk one that's meant more to be a nightgown than a slip, which isn't exactly what I'm looking for. And so I've come to the conclusion that I'm going to have to make my own probably, but we'll see. And then I went out and tried to find silk fabric. Now, the thing about silk is it's very warm. So I may not want a silk slip in the summer. I may want a very light cotton slip. So those sorts of things are things you can discuss with Opalyn, but also I have a spinning wheel and I have wool and she could totally show us how to spin as part of that. It just depends on what everybody wants while you're here. But it's going to be a great time. It's a $200 deposit for the workshop. It's $600 total for the class. If you buy your workshop ticket deposit within a week or two, decide actually I can't get that time off work, I will refund your money. After that, you need to give it to somebody on the waiting list or flip it over that way. I'm pretty sure these tickets aren't going to last very long, and they go on sale not this Saturday like I originally planned, but next Saturday at 9 a.m. Central. So if you want to get a ticket, that's the best time to do it. livingfreeintennessee.com is where they're going to be on sale. I will be dripping out more information about what's happening at the event as the week goes on, especially since ICEMAGEDDON. ICEMAGEDDON's coming. You know what that means? Yeah. I have time where I don't need to be outside. Right?
I have time where I'm not going to be outside.
Yeah. So ICEMAGEDDON's coming, and that gives us extra computer time. No, it's also cook on the wood stove season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You want to talk about ICEMAGEDDON, or do you want me to thank sponsors? Okay, I'm going to thank one sponsor, and then we're going to talk about ICEMAGEDDON. Guess who I'm going to thank?
Pugliano.
John Pugliano of the Wealth Studying Podcast is one of our show sponsors today. He's got an awesome podcast over at investablewealth.com. If you go there and click on the menu, it'll take you to his podcast. Or, of course, use this device and you can get all of your podcast, like on pretty much all the podcatchers, you can download it. I see a question in here from Plumber Mickey. Is camping just tent or RV room? The Holler's not the best place for RVs. So I think that depends a little bit on what you have.
Yeah.
Because if it's like a van, we usually can find a place to stick you. But if it's a 26-foot camper, you probably would be way more comfortable a couple miles away at the Long Branch campground, which has hookups and heated showers if you don't want to use your own shower. So you would have to send me an email about that probably.
Yeah.
But still very, very limited because most of the van places we can put vans have staff there.
Yeah.
But if you have like an overcab truck camper, usually we can find a flat space for you for that.
Yeah. That's doable. Trailers are a problem.
Trailers are a problem because everything's steep. Yes, you did send an email. I'm sure you did. I have not looked at email this week yet. So
don't be
we
rude.
have a kitten being rude. That means she got on the counter. We tell her not to be rude. And she tries not to be rude, but she's all this 26-foot travel trailer is not going to fit in here probably.
No.
Like you also probably don't want to pull it down my road. But Long Branch Campground is where to go for that. And that's not that far of a, 9 maybe 5-minute drive to here from there. It's super simple. But yeah, and usually we have a few people who prefer to have their RVs there.
Jack Spirko was scared to drive his F-250 down our road.
He wasn't scared.
He didn't like it.
He didn't love it. Yeah, he was like, well, there's a drop off.
Much less with a 26-foot trailer, and then you would have, like, the place that pops into mind, you would have to back it up around multiple corners that's steep, slick, muddy, drops, trees, rocks. Yeah, just not conducive to what you want to do.
Nope, not at all, especially if it rains. So sorry about that, but that is what it is.
Yeah.
Also, we're putting a lot of people here, so there's not a lot of flexibility on stuff. Long Branch Campground, it's by Center Hill Dam. There's also Edgar Evans, which is a little further away, but I feel like the Long Branch one's a better option.
Yeah.
Their price might be a little better too. I don't know.
No idea.
I know they're open in April, so that's good. They did a really cool Christmas light show this year, and I went to that thing like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
You probably think I'm weird.
Oh.
He went one time.
Normal people stuff.
Yeah. Did you like it when you went?
Yeah.
It was just fun to walk with your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's a good sense of perspective on the terrain. Yeah. I mean, it's easier to tent camp there. What's happening, though, is we're building out the Holler Hub project. I believe over time there will start being rental cabins and such for the spring workshop, which will be kind of cool. And that's something we're going to give a little update on the hub. We might as well do that now. So the Holler Hub is coming together, and we've talked about it. It's Base Camp Lodge, basically, and we're building a training center. We have a training center now. We're doing classes here, and we're about to start doing more classes here, more small classes here, because our lodge mom is now on property. Yep. Right? So what was happening is Tactical and I were doing it by ourselves and telling y'all about it. And we kind of started with this. We need to have ways for people to come here and experience the homestead and experience real food and learn skills. And then as part of that, our nomads come through in their vans, or there are cabin rentals. And then we have owners, stewards who are involved in a land acquisition to get some more space, who run their own homestead businesses, right? So the motivation for this kind of came from outside of us. So it was hard to really explain at first, because it's like, do this thing because you're going to help these people. By connecting people with real food, we connect you with better health. And by connecting you with the skills to grow your food, you can continue that wherever you are. And that's a big passion of mine. Plus, I'm pretty good at cooking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the real reason he stays, is because he likes my cooking, right?
That and the coffee.
That and the coffee. So, but also we want to help equip people to have, design with profit in mind, because there's this perspective that making a profit on things you make with your own hands is evil or something out there. And that's, we want everybody to transact with each other. So then I realized, like a buying club that brings things that other homesteaders are producing and you can pick up here once a week would be a great idea. Well, having events like the cheese class we did last year was amazing. The farm to table dinner, we did a canning class. It was a heavy lift for me to do without help. Like, not that Tactical isn't help, he is help, but he's not the put the charcuterie platter out kind of help, right?
No.
And so then I was both teaching and putting the charcuterie platter out, and and I did have helpers along the way. So I'm not saying I did it all by myself, but also it was a heavy lift, and it was good that we did those because I learned a lot. But what we came to is, especially because some people come through and stay on site for a little while, right? Some of them are addressing PTSD. Some of them just need a place to get away for a bit, to get a break. And, some of them are just visiting because they like us, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And they get to see what we do here. And sometimes it's a hot mess and sometimes it isn't. So I was like, we need a house mom over there so that when we can reset the lodge when we need to. We want to add some straw bale cabins, and those will need to be reset, and just making sure everything's functioning over there. And then an old friend reached out and said, I think I'd like to come be your house mom for a while. And so Jenny's back in the holler, and she's been here for a bit, but we weren't really talking about it much because she's been getting her lodging set up and all of that going. But she's talking about it now, so I have permission to talk about it. This morning we were talking about starting to do a series of shorter, small classes. Like it could be making a healing salve for an hour and then you go home with your salve. It could be somatic movement. I was like, it'd be really cool to have a somatic movement morning class for people who they could just come in, do it and take off, and it like sets them up for a good day. But those are going to start rolling out at the Holler Hub. I imagine we will have a digital aspect of that too, but we're putting it together as we go. But I can tell you, like, just having that extra house mom on site has been a big relief to me whenever we are doing events and that sort of thing. So like you've seen the difference already, right?
Yeah.
Like, so there's been extra things to do at the hub. Like we're putting in a 3-bay commercial sink. And in order to do that, we had to dig a giant ditch.
Yeah.
And while we were doing that, we flattened a spot for Jenny's camper.
Did a lot of stuff.
And a lot of other stuff. And then we had to move the camper and get it all set up. And now we have to run water to that location and power to that location for the long term. Because she has like her own space and yard and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that's been a little extra work. But then also right after the show today, you know what's happening?
I have no idea.
Do you want to know what's happening?
I'm getting ready for Frozen.
You're getting ready for Frozen, but before you do that, you can go have egg drop soup at the Holler Hub.
Oh.
And it's made from bone broth that we've made here from the livestock we raise here, and she's putting out lunch for us, and that has formerly been me, and I'm pretty excited that I just get to go eat lunch and then make sure we're ready for the frost.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah. Welcome back, Jenny Hill Homestead. Just do it. Yep. So my power went out early, 4.5 hours yesterday. I improved the propane furnace so it can run an inverter and battery. Good for you, Amy. Way to be ready for the storm. So that's what's happening with the Holler Hub. I have a network of folks who are interested in membership and some other things, and I will start communicating about where we're going this year in February. Right now, where we're going is the Living Free in Tennessee workshop. I need to make sure it's all put together and everybody's clear on who's doing what when. I have a draft agenda, but I'm sure we're changing times and days at this point. And Tactical and I need to talk about if we're roasting a lamb or not. So
I think the only thing to discuss is if we are, which one.
Right. And I think that's something we should, or do we want to keep both of them? And I'll do something else like a pig roast. I bet I could get a young pig from Off the Grid Meat Company too, if we wanted to do it that way instead. So it's about herd management. So 30-day Reviews is asking how many events you're doing a year now. So I am doing the spring workshop, which is the big event here, and then a bunch of smaller events. So farm to table dinners, I think we're going to cap them at 12 people at this point, or 2 sets of 12 people. We did 16 to 18 last time, and it worked, but it was very tight in there with that many people seated. And then I realized we could actually have a little more elbow room if we go dinner and then wild edible walk or whatever the activity is on the farm, and then second dinner, and people sign up for which time of day they're going to be through. But that was a very unique experience for folks because everything was absolutely farm to table. We didn't bring any commercial food in, and that's a different scale of cooking as well if you're preparing for it. So it's something I was originally thinking we'd do quarterly. I suspect it'll be more like twice a year this year. And then we have private parties coming in to do chef-led dinners that will be very farm to table-y at the base camp lodge. But that's like sets of 4 to 6 people. So those are even smaller. But that's that's a whole different, you have to have signed up to do that with me.
Yeah.
And we set up a schedule for that. One of them may involve somebody getting married, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Squeaks was on camera for Sweeps Week. Yeah. So Squeaks has been coming into her own as somebody called her a catten this morning. Catten, not a kitten and not a cat, a catten. And so Tactical, tell us what Squeaks did the other day.
I went in to top the Berkey up, which is the most fascinating thing for a kitten because it squirts water into the sink.
Yeah, so he's putting water through the Kangen machine that we run through the Berkey. And she loves watching water come out of the Kangen machine.
Yeah, so half the time she will dart in the manner of a gray streak into the bathroom to get up on the sink and watch. And I start topping the water pitcher up, and she comes bolting into the bathroom, not realizing that the toilet seat is up. Goes to jump onto the toilet seat. Almost goes head first into the toilet. Manages to jump across to the other side of the toilet.
Yeah.
But her back feet slipped. So she ends up hanging from one arm from the toilet seat. I'm pretty sure her rear legs touched water. And she was scrambling so hard. I'm trying to like reach over to grab her to get her up. And she, of course, tries to jump out of my hand. So she does a belly slide across the controls of the bidet, pushing a bunch of buttons, and then goes head first off the side of the toilet into the trash can. It's one of those moments where you just wish you could have gotten that on video because it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And it happened in about 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's the thing is, so one of my memorable moments with Tigger was getting home with a cooler full of ice, and I'd pulled all the things out of the cooler, and he loved to jump in boxes, as all cats do, and he jumps in, like without looking about what might be in there, jumps into the box, becomes aware he's made a terrible cat mistake when his body starts hitting ice water, does I don't know what, and was out within 2 seconds, and only his back feet got wet. Like he was able to change directions, and then he licked his paw and looked annoyed.
Yeah.
Like that didn't just happen, right? So Squeaks has been keeping me on my toes. There's a rubber band on the floor there. If you look at all the clutter behind Tactical, it's like
zip ties.
I put zip ties on the ottoman because I'm reorganizing the zip ties, and they've been unreorganized because I left them on the ottoman overnight, and they're now all over my floor, and I'm going to have to reorganize those.
What was that game when we were kids? Pick up sticks?
Yeah, it's like pick up sticks out there with zip ties. So yeah, 30-day review. Hi, by the way. Haven't seen you in a while. Cats acting like they're in a life or death situation is not always funny. Yeah, it can involve claws. Yesterday, I was printing coffee labels, and there's a chair, like my studio desk is behind me, and then I have a standing area where I do label printing. And all I know is a cat landed on my shoulder somehow without digging claws in, and she jumped from the top of the back of the wood chair to my shoulder because she wanted to see what I was doing with the labels. And I was like, well, that's impressive, but I'm going to put you on the floor now because I don't want you like backing down my body. So we're learning not to climb people this week. Every time she jumps on me, even if it doesn't hurt, I make upset, painful noises.
Horrible noises.
Yeah. So, you've noticed I've been making funny noises this week?
We've been doing that for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. This year, our youngest cat learned not to Geronimo into the bathtub with reckless abandon. Yeah, they will. I had a bath this morning, and that's the other thing is I refill the water dish from the bathtub because I can just get it filled really fast from that spigot. And so she wanted water in the water dish because I'd just woken up, but I wanted a bath this morning because let's just say CrossFit made me have some sore muscles because the things they had me doing yesterday were extra. Anyway, so I turn on the bath and she thinks I'm filling the water dish. So she jumps in there to watch. And I'm like, well, we'll see how this goes, because it's like the water is, plugged and creeping towards her. And the minute it hit her foot, she was like, I need to not be in the tub. And she jumped out. And then I was filling her water bowl from the sink that time. But yeah.
Oh, she also did learn about the big, scary red dragon waking up. She was underneath the four-wheeler when I was getting ready to go to the pasture.
Oh, yeah.
And
Good.
so I started it and watched her bolt.
So the way I trained Mighty not to get hit by cars is if I saw her in the driveway, I would honk and speed towards her in a way that wasn't too fast, but it made it look like every car on the road is trying to kill you.
Yeah.
And that if I see her in the driveway, that is what's going to happen. Just so you know.
Yeah.
But so far, she's terrified of the sound of cars and hides under the roasting shack most of the time when that happens.
Yeah.
So, but she's learned how to go through a cat door. So last week, a couple of times I was like, did Tactical let you out? Or was it the gray streak darting through the door and I didn't see it? Or did I let you back in? Or did you, because it was always right after I walked into the house, there was the cat and I thought the cat was outside. Or did you learn how to use the cat door? And then later that day, I saw her pushing on the cat door with her hands until it opened enough for her to dart through. And now she'll just like bullhead into that, which is going to be really fun for her on Monday night. It's getting down to cold on, 4 or 5 degrees.
Yeah.
And I'm going to close the cat door. They cannot come in and out. I will probably seal it with tape so that it doesn't let air through.
I'll set a camera up just to live.
Yeah, there's going to be a moment where
cat door.
The accordion cat head thing happens, which we all know what that looks like. Okay, so let's talk about the things, right?
Which things?
Milk sandwiches.
Oh, God, yes.
As I understand it today, Tactical tried to get milk sandwich supplies, as is required in the South when ice is coming, and he could get the bread part, but not the milk part, right?
It's interesting. Somebody posted a picture from Aldi somewhere with no bread. I went in Aldi today and they had bread but no milk.
Yep.
So I'm just curious exactly how do you make a milk sandwich? Because apparently that's what you do when
it snows?
I guess.
So you take a Tupperware and you pour milk into it. What did she knock down from my shelf that I care about? Anyway, and you freeze it. You put it outside in the cold and the milk freezes. And then you can take a piece of bread and put the frozen milk ice cube on it. Maybe a little mustard and mayonnaise if you like that. And then you put the other piece of bread, and then that's your milk sandwich. That's how I think that goes. What'd she break?
She knocked the cell phone charger off.
Okay.
The little stand one.
Yeah, okay. She's been trying to break all my stuff too.
Yeah.
She wants to get into everything like a 2-year-old. Yeah, so that's the milk sandwich. So seriously though, how has ice prep gone this year? What are we doing to get ready? Because we're preppers, but were we ready for ice? No.
Well, how ready do you want to be when there's no ice coming? It's went down yesterday and drug the big generator up, got it enough gas put in it to ran it, got it into the prepper pantry, took the other generator over to base camp, topped up some gas cans, which I've got to do a whole thing with. I've got one of the gas cans that just got topped was leaking on the concrete because they're all old enough that they're actually cracking. We need to
replace some gas cans.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we pretty much, this storm has been a much promoted ice storm, and they make it sound like we've never had anything like this happen before. And I'm pretty sure, we'll find out if it's unprecedented, but my guess is going to be, it's like a bad ice storm.
Yeah.
And to be ready for so this is prepper mind, right? To be ready for an ice storm, you have to be ready for power to go out And if power goes out, what you want is that your food that's inside does not go bad because refrigeration is not working. And you also would like the inside of your house not to be cold. And then you also want to make sure you have access to water of some sort. So, and when power goes out regionally, your city water can go out too. So what makes sense is to have a plan for covering those things in the event power goes out. If power is going to be out for more than a week or two, your plan may be to go to a different place and get a hotel for a few days, right? But hey, Rebecca, welcome. I need to talk to you. We need a catch-up call. We haven't talked in a long time. But I'm having one with Kiri this weekend too. So we should just do that. So if you're ready for those things, then great. Well, I heat with wood anyway. Like behind me is a wood stove. That's heating my house right now. So if the power goes out, it gives me a little bit of light at night, enough to see, and I get wood. I get heat. So I'm not worried about being cold in the house. Water, on the other hand, requires power at my house. So if the power goes out, we have a water problem because while we can run the pump house on solar, because it runs on solar, what will happen is our solar battery will go out in a couple hours. Yeah. Unless you turn off everything in the cabin.
Which I don't have a ton running off of that system. And so if we end up in a situation where we need to conserve power, there is already a plan in place to cut down to absolute bare minimum. And about the only heavy drain that we're going to have, I think, is going to be the stock tank heater for the rabbit water.
Yeah.
But I can go down to basically nothing.
Yeah, well, we could also turn that system off and give them dishes of water and dump the dishes, right? So the other thing is having a backup plan if the water stops here, and making sure we don't burst pipes that shouldn't be burnt. So if it looks like the water system's not going to work and we can't keep the pump house warm enough, then we look at draining the whole system. We are currently heating that with electricity, but we have a backup plan with kerosene. And if the kerosene backup plan doesn't work, I have a second kerosene heater at base camp that will work. And so we can keep it warm. So it's very unlikely that we're going to have the problem where we can't keep the pipes from freezing. But then just, the thing is, not having water to your house for a day or two is not a big deal if you know how to do things, right?
Yeah.
So hold on. I couldn't mute for that. Usually I mute for that. It's related to the thing that happened to me in the bathtub this morning. It made me, I'll tell you guys about that too.
Personal problem.
That was a pretty funny way to start my day. So what I used to do on spec here, if it was going to be really cold, was just drain everything for the night it was going to be cold, so I didn't have to worry about it. Run my stove, I'm fine. I have a bucket to flush the toilet, whatever. If it's going to be days, we have outhouses, so sanitation's covered. And that's just part of living on a homestead. So the thing about living on a homestead is you have to not only take care of yourselves, but your livestock. And so our plan for the livestock is we use the rubber waters, and we dump out the puck that comes, and then we put water that we carry over. If we can't get water here, there is a spring-fed pond below my house where the water comes out of the ground at 55 degrees, and that has never frozen. So we literally,
It's never frozen solid.
The part where the water comes out has never frozen. The edges of the pond have frozen, but the water's moving and it's 55 degrees coming out of the ground. And that means that even if it's 0 degrees out, like the ducks will stop going to bed on Monday night and they will be in a little duck floating flotilla island right where that comes out. And we will let them do that because they're going to be warmer there probably than on their little duck feet in the little duck coop.
Yeah.
So, and we also don't heat our livestock with heat lamps here. It's not cold enough that we need to do that. And it's actually harder on them. And then the sheep get access to shelter for this time. So the pasture sheep are going to the barn, and my homestead sheep are going to the chicken pasture where there is an old pig barn that they can get in. And they'll be fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, half the time when I move the main flock down to the barn, usually you'll go over there at night and they will all be up at the top of the paddock. The dogs maybe will be in the barn. And then usually like 1 or 2 nights you go over there and everybody will be in the barn. But half the time they still just go bed down in the snow anyway.
Yeah. Through the miracle of modern modeling, we've known this storm is coming for a long time. So we were less prepared than I would like to be in the category of fuel, I would say. So we've known that we needed to top our propane tanks up for a while, and I didn't do it until this week when I was like, no, really, I should top the propane tanks up. And then the same with the gasoline. We tend to fill them all up in this time of year because gas is cheaper in the winter. And yesterday's quest for Sauce on her way to CrossFit was to get ethanol-free fuel. You're like, well, you only needed 2 of them. I'm like, but if I find it, then I might as well fill all of them with ethanol-free fuel because it's better. And that required me going to 4 gas stations because I know, like, the way I was driving is not where I know the ethanol gas is. It's this other way, and I wasn't going to go that other way. And I did. Now I know in Cookeville where to go to get ethanol-free fuel. But that's, and I got there, and almost every pump had a dude with gas cans, filling gas cans. And I'm like, oh, they got generators too. So, and then if our power goes out, we do have generators, so we can run the freezers. We don't just run a generator though, but we can cool down the freezers, and then, it's fine. And what I do is when I get up in the morning, I think, what are we eating today? And then we run the generator, and then I open the fridge and I pull out all the things that we're going to be cooking with, right? And I put it in a cooler, and I have ice packets that are frozen from my freezer that can keep it cool in the house. And then the freezer closes. I mean, the fridge and the freezer close, like in the kitchen. And then the generator goes off. And usually during that time, I run water to wash dishes or whatever. And then I just pull from the cooler and I don't open the fridge, and then the fridge doesn't cool down. So that's, it's not too bad. And I don't know. I'm just not going to drive in that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I have sneezes today. So yeah.
That's the whole point, is to not have to be able to drive in that. I mean, normally I would have had 5 gas cans in a rotation. When I empty one, I take it and I get it filled, and I start draining out of a different one. But like all at once, all of my metal cans started getting a crack in a certain spot. And it's just from the expansion and contraction with the temperature changes. They finally started to crack. So that's I need to like replace some stuff. But yeah. Other than that, like right before the show, what I was doing to prepare was all of the stuff that I'm going to need to do in the next couple of days that I'm not going to want to do in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
So.
And we need to move sheep this afternoon.
Yeah. And which, I mean, that's mostly set up. But it's like normally I would have a bin of dog food in the pasture. And then when I need more, I will go fill the other bin and take it up there. So what I did earlier today was I went on and filled the other bin, and I'm going to take it over so that I have 2 bins of food, so that when it comes time to go put the sheep to bed every day, I can just go get on the 4-wheeler and go over there, and I don't have to sit there and load a bunch of stuff if I don't have to.
Yeah.
Same thing, I topped the duck food all the way up. I topped the goat food all the way up.
We need to top Nighthawk's dog food all the way up. If you have an extra bin, you can just give it to him.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the other thing you don't want to do, if you can avoid it right now, is walk into a Tractor Supply. Just saying.
Yeah.
I walked into a Tractor Supply. What Wow, that's not supposed to be able to happen. I walked into a Tractor Supply, and it was not mobbed yet, but it's right after they opened, and because I needed to get propane. I didn't top all of our propane tanks. I topped 4 because I'm like, the rest of the area also needs propane, and I can't see a world in which we need more than 4 total.
Yeah.
So, and then I did switch one out at Walmart, so I ended up at 5 because one of my tanks was expired. So then I thought, well, I'll do the switch while I'm in town because this tank keeps going to town with Tactical, and he keeps coming back saying it's expired and hands me the tank back. And then I hand it to him to refill, and then they tell him they can't, and then he hands me the tank back, and I was like, we're gonna stop that right now. The Tactical Supply. In fact, I think Tactical Supply should be your store.
Okay.
Tactical Supply Store.
That probably already exists.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Oh, back hurt.
Everything hurts.
Everything hurts. So yeah, we're pretty much ready for snow. If you aren't, like, we don't have a chicken water that stays unfrozen right now that I'm aware of.
Well, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what the chicken water does through this because it's a different setup than what I had before.
Yeah.
The way I had it set up before, the bucket itself would not freeze. The water around the bucket would freeze.
Yeah.
But the modification I made to that was putting it in one of the rubber feed dishes. So I'll be interested to see if that actually allows enough of the heat to be retained to keep enough water thawed that they can drink out of it.
Yeah. If not, we'll have to bring them water. My first winter here, every 2 hours when it was really cold, I would bring the chickens water and then I had them in metal buckets, and I noticed we have metal buckets in the rafters, so we might want to get those down. I would put the bucket out, and then I'd bring the one that was frozen in and put it by my fire. And then 2 hours later, I would switch the buckets. But it was really cold that particular storm, and that went on for 2 days. And then the thing is, it's mostly hovering 20s and 30s, which isn't as bad. It's when it gets down into the single digits that we start really freezing water quickly. And, other parts of the country have been dealing with this for months now, probably, or weeks at least, where it's just normal for them, and they've had to figure out longer term other solutions. But here it's like in a pinch, you can just, put them out. Jenny's like, we need aquarium heaters somehow. Maybe we have aquarium heaters if you want one. Yeah. I'm sure you have an unused one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Packrat says, I walked into Aldi yesterday, walked right back out empty-handed, was fairly picked over. Yeah. So Tactical here's why he went to Aldi yesterday. I got home from CrossFit, and I had 2 lamb shoulder roasts in the crock pot, which were delicious. And I wanted to have a vegetable with that. So I had asparagus, and we made asparagus, and Tactical and Nighthawk were over for the Holler neighbor dinner. And we all hit that asparagus like we had never had asparagus before in our life. And it was the best thing ever, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
And after dinner, I looked at Tactical, and I'm like, I don't want to go to a store, but also maybe my comfort food for this particular event is vegetables. I'm half tempted to go to Aldi and just buy all the fresh produce, because I don't usually do that. I usually eat what we produce here. And at this time of year, what that means is canned foods and dried foods and frozen foods. And I have all that stuff. And there's no reason for me to go to Aldi and buy a bunch of whatever. And apparently that sounded good to the redneck, because he's like, I'll go. And he went to Aldi, and it was picked over. So he went to Publix and got asparagus and cauliflower and some other things. And we're going to make some sauerkraut. So we're treating ourselves it's a treat with a whole bunch of vegetables, because I have a feeling I'm going to end up making stews. If we don't have power for the crock pot, I can cook on the stovetop, which does still work, unlike my oven. But I can also just cook on the wood stove. When the wood stove's really cranking, which I only do when it's super cold, because otherwise we are run out of this house with heat, then it'll cook in my Dutch oven. Yeah. And so then I'll just I have a roast out ready to be beef stew, basically. So He doesn't know it, but he got beef stew makings today. Or did you know it?
I didn't know what you were making. Whatever. I found it entertaining standing in line and looking at what everybody else was buying, and then you've got me stacking vegetables on the counter.
Yeah, I was like,
it's like,
no, I don't want 1 head of cauliflower. I want 6. Because I also know I'm feeding you, I'm feeding Nighthawk, I'm feeding Jenny, and I won't be surprised if Charles comes over.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? We're going to get more vegetables than we think we need. And if we have extras, I know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we could ferment some cauliflower. I bet that would taste delicious. Cauliflower and hot peppers and carrots. It's like jardinera.
Isn't that like one of the primary things in kimchi?
I don't know. Kimchi's always cabbagey when I get it. Jenny's like, it has ETAS. Oh, she's saying asparagus reduces stress. So maybe that's why my coach at CrossFit. So I've been going to CrossFit, but I'm not supposed to bend my knee for 4 weeks. And CrossFit is usually, it's squats, it's burpees, it's like all these things, right? Like none of that, not riding the bike, nothing. So she devised a diabolical alternative to squats that got the muscle on the back of my thigh, that muscle. And part of what I'm doing to make my knee better is strengthening the leg muscles by doing different kinds of exercises so that it has more support when it bends. So it's very good to get this muscle. But yeah, she figured out how she could target that muscle yesterday without me squatting. And let's just say the backs of both my legs have made themselves known today. Yeah. So yeah, what perennial barnyard fowl can be found in the garden? Asparagus. Thank you, Amy. That was a good one. Okay, so we're getting on towards the end of the show right now, and I'm looking at my notes. Oh, I can't say I don't give a rat's ass anymore, can I? This morning I got up. Squeaks was taught to be a good mouser by LT, who has now passed the scepter on to Squeaks. And part of why things are not places is she brings the rodents inside my house to kill them. And she caught a rat yesterday while I was sleeping, and I got up and there was rat insides on the floor. I didn't know there were rat insides. I just knew they were not mouse insides because they were large. So it could have been a squirrel. And then I found the rat's ass. So yeah, that's what I did this morning first thing before the bath. What do you think of? He thought my whole morning was funny. And then I took a bath and I washed my hair and I was like going under the water to rinse my hair, and the shampoo went up my nostril while I was breathing in, and it went all the way up into my sinuses and down the back of my throat. So that was not super fun. Facebook just died. Sorry guys on Facebook stream. That's fine. Save changes. And that almost caused me to vomit, by the way, because the taste of the shampoo in my nostril and then down my throat was not pleasant. And my left nostril still actually stings from this at this point. And I'm like, what do you do in that situation? Do you like snort water? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like there's better ways to clean your sinuses.
I decided snorting water was not a good idea in case I got a brain amoeba from it. You know? That's going to be the time there's a brain amoeba in there and I'm going to die. So I just kind of rhinoceros through. And my first cup of coffee was with Jenny this morning after that. And I told her the story and she was laughing pretty hard. That's the first thing I told you when you came in too. I was laying on the couch. I was like, I inhaled shampoo up my nose and it's in my sinus and it's dripping slowly and soap-like down the back of my throat. And he thought that was the funniest thing he'd heard all day. So just know that you can injure yourself in the bathtub washing your hair, and be careful, my friends. Be careful. Take care of yourself and be really careful. Yeah, neti pot extreme version. I do have distilled water, so I could have used that actually, but yeah. But then knowing my luck, it would still have a brain amoeba in it because they screwed up at the manufacturing facility and they let brain amoebas in. Yeah. That's why you're not supposed to use city water in the neti pot, Plumber Mick. That's the deal. Because you could get something in the water up your nose and then you're in trouble. Anyway, that is the update from the homestead. We are going to enjoy the snowstorm. I don't love homestead waterboarding. Yeah. I don't love being cold. But also, I do have fun in snow for a limited amount of time. It's more that when it turns into day in and day out livestock maintenance to the snow, it's less fun. And he's not going to agree with me on any of this. That's why he snarled at my skis the other day. Remember that?
No.
Yeah, you didn't like my skis. And you asked me why I would have such a thing. And I was like, because I'm going skiing in 2 weeks. If we get enough snow, I might put the skis on and go down my hill. So that part can be fun. And then it is actually rather cozy when you do have a wood stove to sit by the wood stove and cook on the wood stove and, you know, be warm, because wood heat is warmer than other heat. It's like the best heat there is in the entire world. So I like it, but then also I'm going to be ready for the snowstorm to be gone after about 2 days. And it's going to hang around a little bit longer than that. So the reason I don't live in Colorado is I don't want to just be, I want to go visit snow. I don't want to live in snow. So Justin says we better get a video of you skiing your hill. So if there is enough snow, which right now it looks like we're just getting ice, which is then not conducive to me skiing the hill. Yeah, if we get enough snow, I'll make sure Tactical's out there with his video looking. He'll have exactly that look on his face too. He'll be rolling his eyes the whole time, right?
I watched somebody do donuts in a 4-wheeler down the side of the mountain when it wasn't snowing.
I'm kind of looking forward to the ice skating 4-wheelering I get to do this week. Going down that hill when it's icy and not snowy is going to be like a straight up hope I'm going the right direction and don't hit the pump house situation, right?
I don't know.
Yeah. But Nighthawk has chains he can put on the Tundra, he thinks.
Hmm.
Also, we're facing all of our cars pointing out because then you don't have to back down the hill, because just imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't done that yet with the Subi, but it's going to go under the cover so it doesn't get iced on and facing out. And I get to tarp my wood piles in front of my house, because when it snows and blows and it's undercover, you still get snow on your wood. So that's the deal.
I mean, I just now thought about this fact. I'm glad that like 2 or 3 weeks ago, before we found out this was coming, that I ordered tires for the Jeep.
You have great tires on your Jeep.
I know.
Yeah.
It's so nice because I got
and 4-wheel drive.
I actually got stuck in the wash and had to throw it in 4-wheel drive because of all the excavation work we just did down there.
Yeah.
And
Kiri sent me this dried lemon with, I think this one's cherry, and it's really good in fizzy water. I have a whole load of Meyer lemons in my freeze dryer right now after trying these, because they're amazing. So, yeah, Tori's laughing really hard. I'm glad we entertained you today, Tori. I hope you're coming to the workshop. Tickets go on sale on the 31st, which is a Saturday at 9 a.m. Central. That is 7 a.m. your time. And hopefully Red Flyer Media will come. And anyway, we've got a lot going on, and things are moving buying club finally. So Jenny's really eager to get it done. We've got some farmers with some produce who can even add to it at this time of year. And then we have producers like Kiri, who's made a spice rub that's got Holler Roast coffee in it. She made it with my sort of like, she agreed to do a custom one for me. So it's something we collaborated on. I'm going to be launching that for sale on my website, but it's already and it's going to go to her website. So like if you order it on my website, you're just ordering it from Kiri, and that's great. But I have some here at the Holler Hub available for sale right now if you want to buy it. And then also we have that same spice profile in a dipping sauce if you like to have dipping sauces with your meat. So all of that's coming together, and we've got soaps and all sorts of other things that people are making from our community. And I'm pretty excited to get that country store together. And it's really good to have Jenny on hand to make it happen, because then I can just roast my coffee and put it in the store. And I can talk to people who might want to add their things to it. I do know that we're going to find a way to pre-order and then have for pickup, so that we can do things like get meats from Off the Grid Meat Company and other people. So yeah. Tori's coming to the workshop. All right. You get to meet Sandor cats, Tori. It's going to be awesome. Anyway, guys, if you like the show, want to support the work we're doing here, you can do it in a couple ways. One, get your coffee at holleroast.com. And we just updated the website today. We've been in the middle of a website update for 4 weeks, but it's been giving us fits. And so it's updated. I've heard back that the shopping cart is behaving a little weird. It's probably behaving less weird now, but we had to do the update live because otherwise my subscription customers got all messed up. And if I had a couple people double billed and I refunded the money, if that happened to you and you didn't get a refund, let me know. Or if you got 2 orders and you're okay with that, that's fine too. If your order does not renew, also let me know because that could happen as well. With that, guys, go out, make it a great week.